Welcome to A Place for Film, the IU Cinema podcast. On this week's episode, we are previewing Heartland. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Andy Hunsucker.
And I'm Sarah Doyle.
And Jason is out this week, but it's kind of a soft episode anyways, so it shouldn't matter too much. I mean, you probably won't even notice. This week, we're going to talk about the Heartland Film Festival. It's coming up here in a very short amount of time. In fact, it's coming up the weekend that this episode, the weekend after this episode airs, so you'll be ready and prepped for it. We've got an interview with Tim Irwin, the creative director of, he's the artistic director of the Heartland Film Festival, and we'll be talking to him about the festival, some of his favorite films, some of the bigger picture stuff about the Heartland Film Festival, and that will be really great. All right, well, the next thing you're going to see or hear, I don't have any video of that, but you're going to hear me talking to Tim Irwin about the Heartland Film Festival. He talks about sort of how the festival is evolving and a lot of the interesting things. Like their lineup looks really good this year.
Know.
I'll admit the first year I went to Heartland, I wasn't really jazzed about their lineup, but the stuff I saw last year and the stuff that the screeners I've got this year they look really good. I'm really excited to see these. Yeah. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Andy, and I am on the phone with Tim Irwin, the artistic director of the Heartland Film Festival. The Heartland Film Festival is coming up very soon, the local film festival here in Indiana, one of the biggest festivals in the country. Thank you, Tim, for joining us.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me, Andy.
Yeah, and that's not hyperbole. I read an article on a blog not too long ago that sort of listed the top 10 film festivals in the country, and it was like Sundance, and then South by, and then like one or two others, and then Heartland.
Oh wow!
So, I mean, how do you feel about that?
That's pretty great. We have a lot of things going for us. You know, we're one of the longer festivals. We've been around this is our 22nd festival. And that's kind of rare in festival land. Every year we keep growing, and every year we have more exciting things that we have going on. So, that's really cool.
Yeah, I'll look at that. I'll try to look that article up and send it on. But yeah, I was happy to see that. So the Heartland Film Festival, just give us some basic information here, Tim. When are people going to be able to go to the festival, and where is this going to be held?
Sure thing. Yeah, the festival this year is October 17th through the 26th. So it's 10 days of awesome films. The venues that we have this year will be two of the same as last year. So the AMC Castleton Square 14 Theater on the northeast side of Indianapolis, and then the AMC Traders Point Showplace 12 on the northwest side. Those are kind of our stalwart theaters. And then, our office is in Fountain Square, and we've been doing really awesome First Friday stuff down here every month, and we've been showing a different short film, and we thought we really need to bring at least part of the festival to Fountain Square. As much as we possibly can this year, just to kind of try it out and see what we can do. So we're actually having 4 days of screenings at the Wheeler Arts Building, which is literally, you just walk down the road past Family Dollar and the police station from our office, and you're right there. So Wednesday through Saturday, at the end of the festival, those final 4 days, we'll have 2 screenings a night at the Wheeler, and it's going to be really awesome. We'll have Just Pop In providing popcorn, and I think we're trying to get some Sun King beer there as well, so involving some of our partners and making sure everybody has a really great time.
That sounds excellent. Just Pop In, especially. I'm not a beer drinker myself, but everyone tells me it's great beer. So
people love Sun King.
Yes, they do. They do. Okay, so let's talk about sort of the broader sense of the festival here. Now, most film festivals, if they have a mission, it's something along the lines of we want to play great movies. But Heartland is actually a little different in this respect. You guys actually have sort of a philosophy behind what types of films you're going to show. Maybe you could talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's kind of one thing that sets us apart from a lot of other festivals. So you have Sundance, and they're just looking for the most exciting, maybe provocative, maybe edgy, maybe not very good, but from a country no one's ever heard of type films every year. And that's great. I love Sundance, and I think South by Southwest and Tribeca, they kind of have similar things, and they're promoting really good filmmaking, and that's always awesome to see. What we do is a little bit different. So our mission is to inspire filmmakers and audiences through the transformative power of film. And that plays out in a very specific way in our programming. So as we go through the year, and we had 1,521 submissions this year from 76 different countries around the world. So there was a lot to go through. And kind of the programming criteria that we use is something along the lines of, we look for films that can promote positive change in people's lives through the transformative power of the art form. And that really breaks down in a couple different ways. So one thing, a film is nothing if it doesn't have transformative power. If it's not a well-made film, if it's not strongly crafted and well executed, no one's going to be touched by it. Heck, you're not even going to be entertained by it, really. So that's really what that part of that gets at. We look for films that are well crafted in all facets. The second part is, what does it do to the person? How is the audience impacted by the film? And there, we look for something that's it could be kind of inspiring along the lines of, think of like The Blind Side or something.
Sure.
Or it could be something really challenging that might take you through a dark place and get you out on the other side a little bit different. So whatever it does more than just entertain. It might educate you a little bit. It might shift your perspectives on something. Last year, our grand prize winner, Cairo 678, took on the very difficult subject of sexual harassment in Egypt. And, it's not an easy or fun film to watch, but it meets our mission in so many ways. It challenges audiences. It takes them through difficult things that are happening in the world. And we have a lot of films kind of like that again this year. So that's really what makes us different is how we go about the programming, looking for solid films that do more than just entertain. They can be a little edgy. They can be provocative. They can be thought-provoking. And, we try to program a good variety as well so that there's something that the family can go see. There's something that the folks in Fountain Square here would like to go see. It's a really nice, broad mix this year.
Yeah, and my co-host talked about Cairo 678 last year, and he I don't know how much I don't know what he was expecting, but I don't know if he could say he enjoyed the movie, in
Right.
quotes, enjoyed it, but he did have a lot to say about it, and he did find it very very provocative in that way. So let's talk about the event itself this year. You guys have a couple of big premieres coming up, so tell me a little bit about those.
Yeah, we do. We were very excited. Our opening night is going to be the world premiere of a film called Give Me Shelter. Give Me Shelter stars Vanessa Hudgens, Brendan Fraser, Rosario Dawson, and James Earl Jones. And it's the nice story with that, and part of the reason I think that we've built so much over the years is that the director, Ron Krauss, was at Heartland back in 98 or 99 with a short film called Puppies for Sale. A little bit on the cutesy side of a title maybe, but it had a very young Jesse James in it and a not-so-young Jack Lemmon. It was a really, really cute short, and he had such a great time here that as he was making Give Me Shelter, he thought, Heartland would be a really great place to take this to. So his film got picked up by roadside attractions under Lionsgate, and they're working on a premiere. I think they'll release the film theatrically in January, but we were able to work it out that Heartland's opening night would be the world premiere of the film, which is going to be really exciting. So no one's seen this film before. I saw a really rough cut last year, and I saw another rough cut, earlier this year when we were making our decisions. And Vanessa's going to be in town for it, and I think we're giving her an award at our award ceremony. The story's about a woman named Kathy DiFiore, real life woman in New Jersey. She had 3 kids, was abused by her husband, and ended up saying to him, "Hey, if you beat me one more time, I'm just gonna leave." So he did, and she did, and eventually was out on the streets with her kids. And then, she got back up on her feet, ended up opening up her own home, got her own home, opened it up to other young women who were abused or pregnant. The state of New Jersey clamped down on her and said there was some weird housing law that said that you couldn't have people not related to you living with you. So she fought them, joined with Mother Teresa to fight them even more. Eventually got the laws changed, eventually was honored by at least 2 presidents through her work with Mother Teresa and with the support of Mother Teresa. So it's really about her life and her work. Ann Dowd plays her in the film. Vanessa Hudgens stars as young Apple Bailey, who leaves her abusive mother, Rosario Dawson, to try to find her father, Brendan Fraser, who's been a Wall Street executive that she hasn't ever known. Along the way, she runs into some trouble, ends up meeting James Earl Jones, who recommends her to this place where maybe she can find the help and support and family that she's never really had, which ends up being Kathy and the girls at her shelter. And the really cool part is, alongside having Ron Krauss, the writer, director, producer there, and Vanessa Hudgens, the star, the real-life Kathy's going to be there as well at the screening. So it's really cool to be able to have all kinds of star power in all kinds of different ways, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
At the event. So we're actually doing 2 screenings of that just to finish up real quick. On the 17th of October, we're doing a screening at 4 o'clock with a Q&A after. Then we're doing a red carpet at 6:15 and the second screening at 7:30 with a Q&A and reception to follow that.
Well, that all sounds really cool and exciting that you've got, not just the director, but, sort of the more, I guess you would say, sort of A-list talent that is going to attract a lot of people who might not normally be interested in a film like this.
Exactly, and I think that's probably why Ron wanted her in the film to start with. You have something that's a serious subject, and it really deserves a lot of attention. But not everyone wants to go just see a serious movie, on a Friday night. But if there's something else that'll attract them to it, they still get the same impact. And she has a great performance in the film, really not at all like what we've seen her in before.
Yeah, and it might be the kind of thing that her built-in audience, it might be good for them to kind of see the world from this perspective as well.
Exactly. I think it would really speak to the 8 million Facebook followers that she has. So hopefully they'll all get a chance to see it.
Yeah. So let's talk about your closing night film. This is another one with some star power behind it.
Yeah. For our closing night, we have a special premiere of The Book Thief, which is based on the best-selling novel of the same name by Marcus Zusak. The story of how this happened was really interesting. We were talking to our friends over at Fox, and they said, "Oh, we have The Book Thief coming out. Would your jury want to see it in consideration for the Truly Moving Picture Award?" So I said, "Yeah, that's great, but if we want to try to show it at the festival, we need to see it pretty quickly." They ended up, I think it was literally, they outputted the film on the studio lot, had one screening on the lot in Hollywood, and then sent the film with a representative over to Indianapolis who carried it in her purse the whole way. They had to rent some piece of equipment, $100,000 piece of equipment from California that was overnighted to us so that we could actually show it, because nothing in the state can actually project that format.
Wow.
So our jury and some of our staff were able to see it. Our jury loves the film. It was unanimously voted to receive the Truly Moving Picture Award. So then, as we were working with Fox on saying, "Hey, we're really excited that you've received this award," we kind of explored options, and our opening night slot, our closing night slot was open, and so we said, "Hey, this would be a really great fit," and they said, "Hey, that's perfect. The film won't even be done until October 21st. John Williams was writing the score through September, so we saw it with a temp score. It sounded good, but we saw it with temp score and temp narration. And it was still an amazing film, so I'm really excited to see what it'll look like completely finished. So that's October 26th, again at the Indianapolis Museum of Art, just like opening night in the Toby Theater there. We have one screening of that at 7 o'clock. We're also announcing our Audience Choice Award winners at that event, and also the Best Premiere Awards, which is a new category we have this year. The director of the film is going to be there to receive the Truly Moving Picture Award, Brian Percival. The young actress who plays Liesl Meminger in the film, Sophie Nélisse, she's going to be there. And then Jeffrey Rush is probably going to be there as well. I think we're waiting on final confirmation, but last we heard he was at 80% confirmed, which should be fantastic.
Yeah, that's a big get. I think that's another one of those big names that especially, and this is probably someone who's more in tune with like the indie art house crowd that might normally be excited about Heartland.
Exactly. That's why I like the combination. It's it'll hit a lot of different people in a lot of different ways, and I think give everybody something to be excited about. Yeah.
All right. So are there any other big premieres that you've got that aren't necessarily on like opening or closing night or that sort of thing?
Yeah, so what we did this year was we started a new kind of category called the Best U.S. Premiere. So any film that holds its U.S. or world premiere for Heartland is actually eligible for this Best Premiere Prize in its respective category. So we have several films that are world premiering. One of them is called Wish You Well. It's based on a David Baldacci novel. Stars Ellen Burstyn and Joshua Lucas. Kind of a period piece, kind of like has some vibes of To Kill the Mockingbird. Really interesting film, kind of a period drama aimed at maybe more of the family. Not necessarily like a super family film, but if you have older kids, they would probably really enjoy it. We're going to have some talent there from that as well. I think the author is expected to be in town, David Baldacci. So we have that. We have another really fun one, No Ordinary Hero, the Super Deafy movie. So speaking of the wide range of people that we try to program for, No Ordinary Hero is definitely a movie for the kids and the whole family, about a deaf superhero who plays a deaf superhero on TV, wants to be something more than just kind of the laughingstock of the show. Marlee Matlin, the Oscar-winning actor, she's in it and is an executive producer, I think, as well. Mm-hmm. And she's going to be at the festival, I believe, at least one day to help support the film and the world premiere of the film. So that's really exciting too.
Yeah, I just got an email about that one today. I watched the trailer. It looks fun.
Yeah, it's definitely one you take maybe your 6 to 12-year-olds to, and everybody would really enjoy it. One other one we have, too, just on the topic of world premieres, 23 Blast is a really interesting... Dylan Baker is, you'd recognize his face right away, well-known character actor from a lot of different films. It's his directorial debut. He's taking the story of a Kentucky football player, true story, young football player lost his sight to a really rare infection, and it's kind of about how he ends up getting back on the football field to compete again. So it's kind of one of those more rousing, inspirational, real-life stories. Stephen Lang's in it, and he's usually a bad guy in things. He plays a coach. He's not quite as bad of a bad guy as he is in, like, Avatar. And then Alexa Vega's in that one as well, the spy kid turned, I think she's in Machete Kills, coming out soon here.
Yeah, and I just looked up Dylan Baker. You guys definitely would know his face immediately. Just look him up. You'll recognize him right away. He's been in literally everything.
Yeah. He's great. He stopped by our office just randomly earlier in the process. His wife's family lives in Indianapolis, and so he was just popping in before we had even announced any of our selections. And he's just the most down-to-earth, really great guy.
Yeah, that's excellent. So, I had maybe this had happened last year, or maybe it happened in between the last time we talked and this time. But you guys are now like an Oscar qualifying festival. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was actually the end of just after the festival in 2011. We received notification that we're an Oscar qualifying festival in the short film category, and what that means is really, all the feature-length films have to play in LA and New York, and the documentary features have to get reviewed in certain, the LA Times and New York Times to be considered for the Oscars. The short films, at least the narrative short films, they work a little bit differently, and the animated short films as well. So what the Academy's kind of approved, I think there are about 45 festivals in the U.S. that have this designation, where whatever film wins their top prize automatically skips a whole bunch of the hurdles that they would otherwise have to pass through to qualify for the Academy. I think, there are maybe 3,000 active festivals in the entire world, and I think about 45 in the U.S. and maybe 80 worldwide that have that designation. So I think that's one thing that's really contributed to our rising number of submissions. If you just look, since 2009 till 2013, our submission levels have increased 250% almost.
Wow.
It's just crazy.
Wow. So let's talk about your award winners, both in the shorts and the categories. Again, Heartland is very different from a lot of other festivals. Most festivals sort of keep this stuff under wraps until the very last day of the festival, but you guys announce up front. Like I'm looking at your award winners in your sort of promotional material that people will be handed on the way into the festival right now. So what's the philosophy behind that? And then let's talk about some of the award winners.
Yeah, it's interesting. We started doing this, I think, probably, when the festival started, we would just give out a lot of awards so that everybody had a reason to come to the festival. All the filmmakers did. And then we would announce a grand prize winner among those. And we kind of continued that tradition, even as we added more films and as we had to add like official selection programming so that we would have a lot of films to fill out 10 days. So yeah, up front we have a festival award jury that shows the best 5 films in each category. So narrative feature, documentary feature, narrative short, and documentary short. So that's a total of 20 what we call festival award winners. And those are announced. We announced them at our announcement party September 19th. Those are the films that are still in competition for the grand prize in their respective category, and that's not announced until October 19th at our awards ceremony. Yeah.
But still, the your awards ceremony is the third day of the festival.
It is. It's interesting. Explaining to filmmakers how it all works is great because it's not unlike anything they've ever been to before. They might have done 30 other festivals, and they're like, "Wait, you do what now?" And so it just takes a little extra explaining.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about some of these films. I'm not familiar with a lot of these, but you've got, I mean, your festival award winners, you've got various types of films. So you've got, documentaries and narratives sort of mixed together here. Do you guys separate those out at the end of the process, or is it just all one big award for all of them?
Yeah, we do separate those out when we actually do awards. So for the sake of the guidebook, we were just like, hey, these are all festival award winners. Let's throw them all together. At our award ceremony, we will announce the grand prize winner, $50,000 for the best narrative feature, and $50,000 for the best documentary feature. So they're kind of jumbled together in there, and it's a really great mix. I was so excited. I programmed the narrative features and the short films, and then Louise Henderson, our festival director, also programs the documentary features.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I love the breadth of our narrative features this year. It's really amazing. We have The Forgotten Kingdom, which is, kind of a more, I wouldn't say adult, but it's not geared at young kids at all. It's really for anybody. Kind of a road journey, but it starts in Johannesburg, South Africa, and follows a young man as he has to take his father back to the small country of Lesotho to be buried. And Lesotho is entirely encircled by South Africa. So it's a really interesting film, gorgeous scenery, interesting themes that run all the way through the film. So you have that film that's, very much centered in South Africa. You have anything from that to Hide Your Smiling Faces, which is a fantastic homegrown production. So it was filmed in New York. A young director, Daniel Carbone. Hide Your Smiling Faces it's one of those true art house films. It's about two young boys who they fight with their friends, they fight with each other, they wander through the woods, they find dead animals, they don't really know what to do. Eventually, one of their friends actually dies, and they're suddenly forced to confront their own mortality, their friend's mortality, just a lot of really big issues. And it's a true art film because it's gorgeously shot. It's not traditionally paced narratively. It kind of just flows emotionally, and has a really fitting ending. And it's just a fantastic film. So we have everything from that to Life Inside Out, which is another really great film. It's was written and directed by Jill Danienica and Maggie Baird, and Lauren Nasso helped. They wrote it as well. And it's really middle-aged mom dealing with her kids, and one of her boys is a bit more sensitive, and the other two are kind of the jock types. She rediscovers her love of songwriting and singing, and goes to open mic nights and kind of rediscovers something in herself that she loved, and also kindles something in her one son that he discovers he loves. Something that'll hit, probably a different audience in a different way than a film like Hide Your Smiling Faces would.
Yeah. And I'm familiar with a couple of these films. I haven't seen Blood Brother, but I remember it from another festival that I was at. I can't remember which one. But everyone at that festival sort of really was excited about it, along with The Network. The Network was another one that I'm familiar with from another festival. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all these. These all look really good.
Yeah, those two are two of my favorite docs. Blood Brother won pretty much everything it could at Sundance this year. Everyone was talking about it out in Park City. We're really excited to be able to bring it to Indianapolis as an award winner and have 8 screenings of it. Fantastic tale of Rocky Brad, an American who goes to India, just kind of wandering around, ends up kind of getting stuck, and sticking himself really in an AIDS orphanage in Chennai, or near Chennai, and can't leave. He comes back and when he has visa issues, and ends up, he belongs there in a way, and it's very difficult, and it's a very true, honest, authentic look at it. It's filmed by one of his best friends, so it's a very personal, close, intimate look. A really powerful film. The Network's really interesting too. It's about the first television station post-Taliban in Afghanistan. So it's about a family of Afghans that had moved to Australia for a lot of the strife since the Russians invaded in 1979. They moved back after the fall of the Taliban in the early 2000s. And we're like, hey, people don't have anything to do. A public execution is the closest thing they have to entertainment. Let's do something about that. Let's do something constructive about that. So they set about starting the first kind of media empire. And so they started with a TV station, radio station, TV station, end up with, they're the longest running television station there now. And it's just a really fascinating look at the country, at the politics a little bit, at just the state of a country that's gone through so much, and to be able to get some sort of programming back. That one hit me a lot. I grew up right next door in Pakistan.
Okay.
So it was just, it was fun seeing that part of the world again.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I'm really that whole story just sounds really fascinating, and the picture attached to the in the program book is just wonderful. Like I would see any movie with that image in it.
Yeah, it is pretty great.
Yeah,
I remember growing up. They mentioned it in the film, but excuse me. Wherever you go, people might not have anything at all, but they have a car battery hooked up to a television, hooked up to a satellite dish or an antenna.
Mm-hmm.
And there are shots of that in the film where, this is, maybe they only have electricity for 2 hours a day, or 2 hours a week even, but they get to watch something on this network that gives them some kind of outlet.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about some of the highlights from the rest of the festival. There's one film I want you to talk about here that my co-host saw at South by Southwest, and he just raved and raved and raved about it. Talk to me about The Retrieval.
I was hoping you were going to say The Retrieval. That one made a big splash at South by. It's a fantastic film. One of our board members actually lives in Austin, Texas, the chairman of our board, and had seen the film and was like, hey, you guys should really look at this one. It's a fantastic film. I don't know exactly. I'll be excited to talk to the director more and find out more about it, but it's a period piece, but not exactly what you think of when you say period piece. It's set during the Civil War. There's a 13-year-old boy. He's working with his uncle. They kind of work for a bounty hunter gang that goes about reclaiming escaped slaves, essentially. And the bounty hunter's not a good guy, and the 13-year-old's uncle is also not a good guy. But you get kind of the sense that he's he's trying to survive. He's trying to just make a living. They end up being sent out to find an escaped slave in the north, I believe, and bring him back to where he can be probably executed. You don't know exactly what's going to happen to him, but there's a bounty on his head. And along the way, as they start making their way back, relationships form, and a lot of stuff develops and unfolds in ways that you wouldn't quite expect. And it's gorgeously shot and very well acted, especially by the young actor. And it's just one of those films that you kind of get swept up into. At first you're thinking, can they pull this off? And then after 5 or 10 minutes, you don't care because they already did, and you're in that world. And it ends the only way it really can, not to give anything away. And it's just, it's a fantastic piece of cinema.
Yeah. So give me a few more highlights of the festival. And I know every festival director I talk to hates to answer this question, but give me a few things that you think. Give me like a broad spectrum of what sorts of things are going to be available at the festival for people to see.
Film-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot this year. So out of that 1,521 submissions, we have 134 that we're showing, including the high school film competition shorts. I'll probably touch on just a couple of the short films as well, because we had so many this year. We had over 1,000 that were submitted to us. That was a very tough day narrowing it down to the ones that we were ultimately going to program at the festival. There's a really thoughtful piece. And I love short films in general because, they're forced to tell a story really quickly, and you have to get it right to be good.
Yeah,
and you have
exactly.
to do it fast. And you can take chances along the way, and that's one thing that I really love about it. So there's one film, Rhino Full Throttle is the the English title at least. It's a German film, and it's, occasionally you'll see kind of a mixed media type film, and usually they're 3 minutes long, and they're fascinating because they use all kinds of stop motion, really cool stylistic tricks. It's like an extended version of that with an actual story and actual themes, and I just fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. It's just so joyful. It's so clever and inventive. It really blew me away. And this year also, to highlight another short, we probably have, I think it's the very first zombie short that Heartland's ever played.
Interesting.
It came in, and we were like, wait, did they make this just for us? It's definitely a zombie short. The zombie apocalypse has happened. It's a film called Cargo. And it's about a man who's kind of wakes up and the zombie apocalypse has happened, and he finds his young daughter. His wife's turned into a zombie already, and he has to do something to get, he can not necessarily get himself out of the situation, but try to take care of his daughter as well as he can. That short's in a really fun program. Shorts Program 6. It's called Strange and Odd Bits and Bobs, and it's just a weird mix of programming that I really enjoy. Another one in that is Post-it, where an office worker finds out that his best friend is a Post-it note that somehow changes. And it's kind of quirky and really hilarious. And there's, another one in that same program is called Best If Used By. It sounds like it's a little on the macabre side, but it's really not. It's really sweet. this young, I don't know, she's maybe 30 or so. She works at a grocery store and finds out that her boyfriend's passed away. So she goes to see him at the morgue or at the hospital, and his parents are there. And as she doesn't want to leave his body, and as he's being taken down into the morgue, she, just sticks around with it. And the attendant leaves for a second, and she just steals the body and takes him back to the grocery store's refrigerator, where he'll be preserved and kind of, mourns in her own way and grieves in her own way. And it's kind of hilarious because that's really absurd. And, you can't help but laugh and be touched by it at the same time. But it's not necessarily something that you would traditionally think of as, being programmed at Heartland, but it really fits with our mission in a lot of ways.
Excellent. So I'm looking around at this list of films, and I'm really excited about all of them. But tell me a little bit more about. I'm just going to sort of randomly pick one out here. Well, it's not random because I'm a little familiar with this film, but I'm curious about it. It's called If You Build It.
Yeah, and I'm probably not even the best person for that. For the official selection documentary features, Louise pretty much dealt with all of those. And yeah, honestly, I haven't seen that one yet. There are a few that I'm still waiting to see before the festival, but I've heard a lot of good things about it from our programming staff and everybody that has seen it so far.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other thoughts about Heartland that you want to share with us before we get out of here?
Yeah, I mean, it's just probably one of the most exciting years we've had in a long time. Every year seems like new things are happening. This year we even have dedicated nightlife spots for after screenings where you can go and hang out with the filmmakers at a bar nearby or at maybe the official hotel and just grab a drink, talk about the films a little bit more. Trying to find more ways to open up that filmmaker-audience interaction, which really makes the films all the more special. It gives the filmmakers a reason to keep coming back. It gives them a reason to tell their friends to submit, which gives us more films to choose from, which means that we can choose even better films next year. It's just kind of like a really awesome spiral upward, as it were.
Spiral, that's a dangerous word to use when you're intending to say up. But anyways.
I know.
Anyways. Tim, thank you so much for joining us and talking about this festival. I'm really excited about it. The Heartland Film Festival, October 17th through the 26th. It's going to be held in Indianapolis. And what's the website people can find out more about this at?
If you don't pick up the printed guidebook, which is available at our office and at our screening locations now, you can go to heartlandfilmfestival.org. We have the whole PDF of it up there. We also have browsable schedules. You can actually see the whole schedule if you like us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/heartlandtmp. You'll be able to actually buy tickets through Facebook even and see the whole schedule that way. So a whole host of different ways to get the information that you need. You can call our ticketing number 1-866-HFF-1010 and buy tickets that way as well.
All right. That all sounds great. Tim, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Tim Irwin, the artistic director of the Heartland Film Festival, October 17th through the 26th. So that'll be it. Thank you guys for watching and listening. My name is Andy.
And I'm Sarah.
This has been, and always will be, A Place for Film. A Place for Film is recorded at WFIU Studios in Bloomington, Indiana.